Excellent. Thank you so much for having me today. And thank you for letting me go last. It's a great opportunity to really share how our programs can complement each other and the work that we do. So as Don mentioned, my name is Jaimee, and I'm the Director of Conservation. Where do I point this? There we go. So who is the Nova Scotia Nature Trust? So we are a charity, a nonprofit land trust. We've been around since 1994, and we've protected over 30,000, I think we're at 35,000 acres. Oh, I didn't write it on the slide, 35,000 acres of land across the province. It's everywhere from Lowland Cove at the tip of Cape Breton to Seal Island, 16 kilometers off the southwest shore of Nova Scotia, past Yarmouth. And we work to help protect the most significant lands in Nova Scotia. And so we are land trusts, we are a nonprofit organization, we are a charity. Our mission is protecting land in perpetuity. We focus on private land conservation. I took out my slide about the percent of ownership of private land, so thank you, Dale, for mentioning that. And we care for this network of conservation lands, working with communities, working with researchers, working with volunteers to kind of take care and connect people to nature. We have a lot of different tools that we use, and again, there's some great overlap opportunities, but our goal is kind of that long-term protection of lands. So people donate land to us, that's one of the tools. We have some landowner incentives that makes that something that people can do. We sometimes purchase land, fair market value, or we do a bit of a half and half called split receipt, where maybe a portion of the land value is a donation and the other portion is a purchase. We also do conservation easements, as Jenica mentioned, and these are covenants registered on title that help to protect the biodiversity values of the land. So these include things like no subdivision, no building, you can't alter waterways, and basically they're tailored to the lands that we're protecting. One conservation easement we just recently did, you may have heard of, was Cable Haven Island with Municipality District of Lunenburg, where we worked with them. They wanted to make sure that this land, which is so beloved in the community, people going out there, accessing it, going out for picnics, they wanted to make sure that future councils couldn't change that. And so the conservation easement was something we worked with them really closely on to kind of protect the value of that land as a natural wild space for the community, but also had at least 3 open houses with consultations to really understand what is important to the community here. Our goal is to protect biodiversity. It's not to keep people out. It's not to change these uses that obviously have been working. If it's protected, if it's in great shape, let's keep doing those things. So this is I think, a really exciting opportunity that we had to meet with people, understand where people are using it, and kind of achieve both goals. So that land is going to be there for the community, for Nova Scotians forever, as well as, if we're able to say, hey, we helped do that, we're going to help protect that. We also work in supporting other partners. I was talking to Jenica again earlier, where we all fill this niche, and it's a great community overall, where I've had projects, landowners come to me, and they were more interested in the working woodlands, which is not something that my program is able to do, but I'm able to refer them to the Working Woodlands Trust and say, there's a great organization that's doing that, and vice versa, where Jenica and her organization have had landowners who really were more interested in a conservation mindset, whether they weren't actively doing site management, maybe it had wetlands, or wasn't really conducive to active management, and she sent them my way, and we've been able to work with those landowners. So it's a really cool opportunity to kind of go a lot further when we don't care whose name is on it, and we can have a lot bigger impact when we can keep working together. So some of the landowner incentives that we offer that are a bit unique to us as a charity, if you do a land donation, there's a program called the Canadian Ecological Gifts Program. This is a program through Environment Canada and the CRA. So essentially it is an added tax benefit where 100% of the land value of land that's donated that's ecologically significant is carried over for your taxes. You can carry it over for 10 years. And so it's a really significant tax benefit if you're looking to do a donation and can use that offset. We also are able to work with American landowners through a program or organization in the States called the American Friends of Canadian Conservation. So if land is donated from an American landowner, we're able to help facilitate a tax credit for their U.S. income, which is also a great tool, knowing that a lot of lands in Nova Scotia are owned by Americans. And I think another thing that is an incentive for a lot of folks is we get to celebrate you. We get to tell the story of this land and how important it was to you. I don't know if any of you saw this article on CBC, and it was on the radio and on the website on Sunday, This was a land donated on Shingle Lake. It was a peninsula, forested, critical habitat for a variety of different species. And I was able to sit down with the landowner. Unfortunately, her husband had just passed away about a week before we announced it, but she really wanted to get together still and just tell the story, tell about how this was so important to them. And we were able to sit down and talk about the land and how important it was. And so it's just a great opportunity for us to celebrate the landowners, and that is, I think, a big piece of legacy for a lot of people. And this is another easement or land that was donated to us. It was the 2000s ecological gift. It was in Lynch Lake, Nova Scotia, near Provincial. So how do we decide what lands we're working with? Obviously, we can't do everything. We're a charity. We're a small organization. So we try to align the lands that we protect with some of our main conservation goals, including protecting great forests, freshwaters, critical habitat for birds, species at risk, and places where we can connect people to nature. And within those areas, we try to focus. We could work all over the place, but we're not going to be good landowners. We're not going to be good community members. So we really do try to focus in key areas where we know we can be there, we can take care of the lands, we have staff that are there, and it just kind of amalgamates and creates these more protected, connected areas where we can be better land stewards and better partners. And these are some of the areas where we work across Nova Scotia. Oh, now I'm having your problem, Danica.
You were doing so well.
I know, it was. Oh, too far. Could you go back one for me, please? Other way. There we go. So what happens when the Nature Trust takes ownership, takes care of land? So within a year of us kind of land being donated to us buying land, we go out with our team of biologists and we do a full baseline inventory of the site. So we go out and we map out the FEC forest types, we do species at risk surveys, we really try to understand what's out there on this land. And then once we have that information, we're able to do a stewardship management plan that allows us to understand what's best for this land. Sometimes, maybe it's just kind of check on it and see how things are going. Sometimes it's doing restoration work. You'd be surprised how many times it's removing a bus from back in the woods. I think we're on bus number 4 now. So it's something that we're doing to kind of bring the land back to kind of a more natural wild state. So it's cleaning up garbage. Maybe there's an old dilapidated camp that somebody hasn't used for 20 years. So we try to work together, reach out to the neighbors, understand the land use of this land, and kind of work together to do what needs to be done to bring the land to a more natural state. No, it's broken now. Can you move forward, please? Oh, we went 2 that time. So yeah, just some examples of some of the work that we've done. So again, this is doing trail clearing. If there's trails on our lands, again, our lands where we protect are open for nature. They're open for the public, they're open for people. So it's not we've put a wall around it and said this is conservation land. We want this land to stay how it is, but we want people to also enjoy it as much as the species that live there. So some of our lands have trails. Some of them you have to be willing to go bushwhacking through the bayberry, and it's a bit of an adventure. We like to call it swimming through the huckleberry, some of those coastal forests. But our lands are open for people. We do have lands that have camping, where it's just rustic camping areas. People have always been out there camping. We don't want to take that away. And so we kind of do what needs to be done to clean up, make lands accessible, and do restoration work. And this is Purcell's Cove, actually, near Halifax, or in Halifax, I guess, where there's a well-used trail. We worked with volunteers to build some bridges and boardwalks to make it more accessible. And we sometimes are doing cleanups, installing signs. That's a Thunderbox, one of those sites where camping is popular, where we kind of work again with the community and volunteers. Most of the people in these photos are volunteers that help facilitate the work that we do. Oh no. Okay, we'll start. Keep going here. So we do have a really incredible volunteer program. I know a couple of folks took brochures earlier today, but we have over 200 property guardians that work with us across the province. So if you're someone who loves to get out in the woods anyways, and you want to support some of the conservation work we're doing, maybe you have a boat, you like kayaking, you want to go exploring, this is a great program, and we connect people with areas and with properties, and they go out and they do some stewardship work for us. They check on things, let us know how it's going, And that's a great tool for us to have more presence and be better land stewards while we're out there. We also sometimes are doing really active management projects, whether it's doing some cleanup with partners, doing restoration projects for species at risk. I'm gonna go fast now. Maybe. Could you move me a few slides forward? All right, so I think that's pretty much it. There was a shoreline cleanup picture and a salt marsh restoration picture. You can imagine that you saw them. So these are some of the projects that we do, working with partners, working with academics, working with communities. What's most important here? What can we do to help facilitate some of this work? And then I had some pretty pictures at the end that we'll head past. But St. Mary's River is one of our focus areas where we've protected a significant portion of the riparian area, critical habitat for wood turtle, important for salmon. And so we work again with the community, St. Mary's River Association, to really try to be meaningful partners and a big part of the long-term protection of those lands. Maybe if you can go to the last page, just have my contact info there. Oh, there's another forest, pretty picture. This is Bredor, beautiful coastal property that we protected karst. You go one more. Anyways, I have a table over there if you'd like to go see me. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. This is where you can reach out if you want more information. Someone that came out actually asked about maps for our properties, and we do have them all on our webpage. There's an interactive map. You can click on the parcels of land. They have access to information, what's out there. But if you do have any questions or interested, please reach out. And again, I think this is such a great opportunity. Different niches, forestry is important, woodlots are super important. Maybe there's that piece that has a steep slope that you've never harvested or never really done anything on. Maybe you have a wetland area that's not really that great. Those could be really important for biodiversity. And this could be an area where working with someone like the Nature Trust could be a really great connection to protect those lands. So thank you so much for having me.